Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. We have online now two dynamic members of our community. Alhamdulillah. It is Zeinoul Abedien Cajee, Awqaf, South Africa CEO, and also Professor Muhammad Haron. He is here to talk to us about the Academic Committee, Third Congress on Islamic Civilization. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Welcome to the program. As I understand, an amazing 2 days in the Western Cape. There was this Congress that happened in that part of the world. We'll cross over to Professor Muhammad Haron to talk to us about the content of this Congress and the meaning, how impactful it's going to be to us as South African Muslims and Muslims all around the world. And then, as always, Zeinoul Abedien Cajee and Awqaf South Africa doing amazing work right across the board as far as the Deen and the Ummah is concerned. Let's start with you, Zeinoul Abedien Cajee. Welcome to the program. Assalamu alaikum. How did this all come about and your involvement as Awqaf South Africa?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Jazakallah, Sister Julie, for having us on this program about the Third Congress. How did it come about? Well, we've been associated with this organization, IRSIKA, that is Istanbul-based, which is a subsidiary organization of the Organization of Islamic Conference, or Organization of Islamic Cooperation, as it is now called. And we've been associated with this organization since the early days of Awqaf, South Africa, already way back in 2003. So we've had a Congress in Uganda, we were just attendees there. We presented a paper there. And then we had the amazing Congress in 2006 with about 500 participants, 60 speakers at the University of Johannesburg. And then in 2016, 10 years later, we had another Congress in Durban at the University of UKZN. And now in Cape Town, 2022, in association with the University of Western Cape. So, our involvement has been really speaking to organize these congresses. The purpose of it is basically to bring together a range of scholars to look at what research has been done in specific areas of interest to the Muslim community of South Africa and Southern Africa. So our outreach is not only South Africa, but also all the SADC region as well. So Tanzania, Malawi, Mozambique, Botswana, Tanzania, these are all part of our region, and we are very interested in various aspects of the happenings either in media, in economics, in politics, in Islamophobia, in language and historical records, the kind of manuscripts that are available. And so maybe Muhammad Haron, he can elaborate further on the content of the conference and Congress as well.
Inshallah, we'll go to Professor in a minute or two. Let me just ask you this question. It's amazing that these conferences or Congress, these type of, seminars, congresses, call them what you will, these things happen. And you talk about the amazing papers and the amazing speakers that are present here. I'm wondering about the tangibles that come out of it, and how is all this very valuable information then disseminated to the larger Ummah in South Africa and beyond? Because it's important issues that are discussed, and sometimes I'm afraid that lay people are almost out of the loop at this high level.
Yes. So what happens as an outcome of the conference or the Congress, we do produce a whole book on all the proceedings. So far we've produced 2 books actually. So people who are interested in the research and what goes on and the comments and on various aspects. These books are accessible, and hopefully it will be available online as well. So especially for for current researchers and future generations as well. One of the basic ideas behind this is that we become producers of knowledge. Our people from the bottom, from our own communities, become producers of knowledge rather than consumers of knowledge that has been produced by Orientalists and from people elsewhere. So now we have authentic knowledge that is produced by ourselves, and you can say also if we can go a little bit further deeper, it's also a kind of a decolonization project. Very kind of people talk a lot about decolonization nowadays. So it has been a decolonization project. We want to think and we want to program our minds according to what our own authors and writers are saying about ourselves. So this is really an underlying theme of the entire Congress, that we produce authentic knowledge, and try to make it as accessible as possible. Not everybody's interested at high levels things, but hopefully, we can ask, and this is a brilliant idea actually that you're just putting forward, that we ask our researchers and scholars to just give us summaries of what they've said, so that if in a snapshot you can get the gist of whatever they're
Okay.
presenting.
All right,
Yeah.
Zeinoul, I have to stop you there, but you've now also made me think about another brilliant idea, inshallah. If they can summarize in an easy to understand format, we can then disseminate it via this very platform in a series format. So please think about that. I think it's very, very important and very valuable information that we need to get out to the masses of the Muslim community. Let's so chew on that for the time being. Let's move across to Professor Mohammed Haron. Salaam alaikum to you. Welcome. I know we had problems connecting with you last week as well. I hope that you are able to hear us clearly, and welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam. Yes, yeah. I can hear you well, thanks.
Okay, you're
Um,
going to share with us the content at the Congress, the meaning of all of the content, and just how relevant the content is in today's day and age as far as the Muslim Ummah is concerned. Undoubtedly, we're also wanting this content to go beyond our borders, the Muslim world borders, and reach non-Muslims, for them to understand who we are as an ummah.
yeah, thanks for this opportunity. And firstly, I think this was a very packed Congress. We didn't plan to have it so loaded, but circumstance was such that we basically tried to cover as much as we could. Firstly, is that when we look at the content, we had at least 12 panels and 3 special panels. But let me start with the 3 special panels. We had a panel on Arabic language, its teachings in South Africa, its practices. And we basically had an interesting team of individuals who basically addressed that. Interestingly, many of those who were addressing that were individuals from Yemen and Libya and elsewhere that are now South African as such and associated with South African institutions, sharing their ideas of the teaching of Arabic. That is sort of the one. The second special panel was on Sheikh Abu Bakr Effendi, and of course, this for everyone. The Congress was dedicated to the memory of 2 individuals. One is Sheikh Abu Bakr Effendi, the other one was Imam Abdullah Haron. And that brings us to the third panel. The third panel was focusing, it was basically an Imam Haron Foundation panel in cooperation with Ishika, Awqaf, and UWC. And of course, here again, normally September is a month in which the Imam Harun life is commemorated. And for that reason, it was brought on board in this Congress, because normally it is commemorated on the 27th of September, but because of the Congress, it was brought forward. Now, alongside these special ones, we had several others. One focused, for example, on Ajami text, Mushaf's language. Maybe just to give you an idea, on the one on Ajami, we had Dr. Chapani from Mozambique, who gave us an insight into the Northern Beacon scripts that were all in Arabic scripts,
Wow.
but they all local languages like Makua and so forth. So this again, this is a matter of interest, complements what has been happening in the Cape with the Arabic Afrikaans script. So the Arabic script has become very much of an informative Bible. The other important, on this particular panel, was the mushafs that were uncovered, so to speak. They were around, but they were not known to have been around. And Dr. Fakhruddin Waisi, for example, was able to go to rooms and find that there were a number of manuscripts, written manuscripts by people who were at the Cape, and that in itself is very revealing. So then we had a panel on the Muslim media, where we had individuals like Imran Bakas, Salina Sifat, who gave insights into the Al Kalam, for example, into the Tide magazine in Malawi. All of these, I think, very informative, that people need to become familiar with, partly because these platforms, that is, these printed platforms, in one way or another, record the history of Muslim community. It records other issues pertaining to the Muslim community. I think it is necessary to also then evaluate these particular platforms as a way to advance, to transform, to change, to influence thinking on the ground. We had, for example, on Saturday, in addition to the panels that we mentioned, Sheikh Abu Bakr Effendi and Imam Harun panel, we had the Muslim leadership panel. And there, again, we could hear the voices of individuals who spoke about Haji Uzair Ali, for example, whom very few know about. At the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, was very influential as a Muslim leader. We had Halim Gankuglu, who basically also spoke of Dr. Effendi, who was one of the first medical doctors. So the point which I want to make is that all of these panels added value and new information that many of us were unfamiliar with and need to be informed about. Alongside all of that, of course, we had a book launch on Abu Bakr Effendi that was written by the Voice of the Cape's Shafiq Morton, whom we know has been writing on Sanguru and others. And here again, he brought onto the book market another informative text penned by him with well researched. And I think all of these again add more information to what we didn't know. And I think that is where these congresses play a critical role, in the sense of we bring together young researchers, established researchers, to basically inform our community that we have an extremely rich history, and this rich history helps to give us a better understanding, not only of us in South Africa, but in the region, because we have many SADC members who joined us for this, as well as individuals from beyond the SADC region.
Alhamdulillah, Professor, I do apologize. I have to interrupt you there. We need to end the interview. We do have our next guest on standby. Shukran very, very much for your time and for the overview on the content. I'll give the last word to you, Zeinoul Abedien Cajee, but very briefly, over to you, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah, Sister Julie. I think that this Congress has been a little bit different from the previous ones, in the sense that we have now got a lot of women in the program. We've had a lot of indigenous South African and Southern African people that have been included in the panels. lots of young people that have been included in the panels, and this augurs well for the future. There was a very there were very significant pleas being made by different people about future congresses and how we should handle them. And the plea from Malawi was that we need to bring more and more PhD candidates that can contribute. She said there was only two female PhDs in the whole of Malawi, which was really,
Oh.
revealing as well. So, inshallah, thank you so much for having us on the show, and we'd be really looking forward to those mini inserts with
Okay,
different speakers,
inshallah.
on your program, inshallah.
All right, great. I'll put you in touch with Ponte and you guys can organize that. We also have a message here from Hassanein Abdullah. Salams, mashallah, the content of the Congress was of a high standard. Alhamdulillah to hear that. Shukran once again to you, Zeinoul Abedien and Professor Mohammed Haron. Salamu alaikum and keep us in your du'as. The
Walaikum
time
salam
is
wa
the time is exactly 8:59 a.m. News and views right here on Salam Media. We have our next guest who is standing by, and that is you, Papano Pasha, Anti-Poverty Forum South Africa. We'll be talking with you in a minute, inshallah.